my daughter today? Am I going to die today?
But
Am I
can you actually say
I
that's
just want to make a
true?
point. That's what I'm trying to say. No, it's a lot of brothers they're looking for a way out. They're constantly paranoid. Whether you smoke weed or not, they're constantly paranoid. Whether the police are coming to fly through the door, whether they're gonna die.
It's a risk of freedom.
Right.
Content over everything.
Me?
It's on my head.
Is it still there?
Good.
But what about the ones that are? Why would
It was
you?
blended into
What
the job.
I don't think that's
I'm trying to say, a lot of these kids are dying for a way out. They are truly, whether you're Muslim, you're dying to practice your deen. Whether you're not Muslim, you're dying for an opportunity. They're looking for opportunity. The Evening Standard has I think they have a campaign of trying to employ kids that were either involved in a gang or involved in a gang or. Yeah, what's it called?
You know what I've heard you say before though. I've heard you say, why would you want to go and do a job that pays so much an hour when you can earn £500 a day?
No.
I've heard you say that. So
I've used that as an example. No, I've used that as an example. You misquoted me.
No, I haven't misquoted you
because
you've literally
it's on camera.
Wait a second. You've literally just said that there's the kids that are dying to get out of the game, dying to get out of this because of other factors.
You can't do a lot with drug money. What can you do with it?
You can do it wholly, but of course you can do a lot with drug money.
I think what he was saying was...
No, he said people are dying to get out of the game because the risks are that they are dying and stuff like that.
I think what it means is you've got to give
Can
them an
you
incentive.
give them an
Because if
incentive
you're
though?
Say you're getting £500 a day, but I can give you £50 a day. Is that going to give them an incentive to come out of crime? Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
but if you can make so much money by trapping, why would you want to do a legit job?
The point I'm trying to make, say right now,
do it in the first place.
say for instance,
Some of them do want to come out because they're scared.
Yes, some of them do because of the factor is that they can die and whatever. But if a lot of them really wanted to do it, then they would do it. But more time, it's like I'm making more money doing this than I would do ever.
The money's dead. The money's dead. It don't matter whether you're earning 2 racks a day.
What you need to understand is, as we're Muslims,
so haram.
The
solution is Islam. That's what it is.
Of course it does.
It hardens their heart. Islam is key for these children.
Softens their heart.
Take them to the masjid. I've seen kids 3 years old.
But not everyone in these gangs. It's not about Muslims, though. That's the thing.
No, I'm talking about Muslims. I'm talking about
Muslims here.
Yeah, but
Exactly. It's the solution for Muslims, and then what about everyone else?
But you have to start.
Hold on.
No, obviously the only reason why you care is the fact that you're a Muslim.
No, it's not that. The brother's trying to saturate the point here. If we're looking at it from a Muslim standpoint, the solution for Muslims in terms of road is to study Islam, to turn away from this, to go into masjid. If we want to look at it from a broader picture, the wider picture is through the employability stance. So if you give a kid an opportunity where he has the chance to train and earn as well at the same time, i.e. like an apprenticeship.
School is an opportunity, but they're leaving school.
It's not just school. It's not just school.
School is an opportunity.
Hold on, man. Can I just make my point?
No, they're getting expelled from school.
I'm trying to make
No, hold
exactly.
on.
Yeah, but school is still given this opportunity.
You're not given a job. You're not guaranteed a job after.
I'm on my school. Let's say you get excluded from school, or like let's say the whole psychological thing, and you go lower in like the grade boundaries, and then they kick you out the school because they just kick out you're too naughty. You go to PRUs, and PRUs you're socialising
makes
with
it worse.
more
That's what makes it even worse.
So you become
But then
more
that's
of a
where
gang.
that's
You
the
become more
solution
of a
goes
gang.
from the parent to the school, because these are the first things that you interact with in life. So if you get these 2 things right, the rest of life ain't going to be crap for you.
Yeah, so
it really ain't.
so-
For the majority, obviously there's some like people with different circumstances, no parents, orphaned, whatever, one parent, like that's fine.
Schools have a massive role to play in why our
Huge
children are on the streets, because when
Primary
you see
school,
troubled
huge
children,
role.
they're throwing them out of school or putting them in PRUs where they are getting more decentralised, they're getting more upset in their lives, and they're going to be vulnerable. Thank you. They're going to be more vulnerable to criminals. So we need parents that are going to help their children, and we need schools to not just chuck them out of school, but we also need to understand that when they're vulnerable, there are going to be a lot of people out there trying to get them to start trapping. Yeah?
Can I just change this narrative that school just kick out kids? That is actually
really nice, man.
changed
Gave me a deal like 3 for like 5, man. That's what I like must flavours, man.
She's school
Yeah, I
teacher.
don't like
I was part of a
please, inshallah,
generation
I'll
when
sponsor you, man.
schools were kicking out like naughty kids.
Is it? You're just
But
gonna give it a lot?
alhamdulillah, there has become an incentive where kids are being managed moved now. So if it's not working in that
got a new
school, they switch them to another school and give them like a test period there.
That's a
It's not
brew though.
just-
That's what makes it worse. That's what makes it.
Let me-
Hold on.
Can I ask a question?
Can I ask a question?
I didn't say it was
And let me make a point.
It is another public school. where the child is given another opportunity to make a fresh start. I'm at the front line of the classroom every single day. Like, alhamdulillah, it is working. A lot of kids are coming into my school, a lot of kids are moving out of my school, and they are making a fresh start for themselves in other schools.
Sis, can I just, I'm sorry, I don't want to, can I just, no, but no, hold on. Yeah, but listen.
Saying this person was great for this job. Why? Because they influence the children to do better out.
They're like a second
in that
parent.
subject, but outside of school.
Yeah.
Like some teachers just
That's
want
why
the
I'm
teachers.
through the teaching vetting system.
I'm just going to respond and then I'll let you, yeah? Sorry. Sister,
And I can't lie, I don't know how she's going.
sis, can I,
Say with my sister, I can't even
no, I mean, I don't want to like argue with you, but like I've got a lot of girls that I know that have played up maybe once or twice at school and got put in Prues. And once they were put in Prues, okay, they stayed there up until they had to leave school. And that really, really affected their education. And once they were in the Prues, they're with children that are throwing chairs out of windows, that are fighting with each other, they're troubled children. So I don't know, maybe in the last, but Prues, making them worse. So not
prison, etc.
So they're supposed to go to Prues and then get a managed move, but a lot of children,
they don't go to Prues.
some do
They
just
get
for
managed
8, 6,
moves,
yeah, but some.
and if they fail that and the school refuses 100% point blank to take them back, then they go to Prues.
Yeah, but wait.
many schools, it's on their stats now,
Yeah,
so
but-
they try not.
But sometimes, before they put them in their managed move, they put them in a Prues, supposed to be there for 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah? Okay, because my daughter was in a Prues for a couple of weeks, only because she needed a managed move. But she ended up being in there longer than what she was supposed to do. And that affected her education. Thank God she was top set, and she ended up having to catch up. But when she went to the Pru, she felt like she was in the jungle. Do you understand me? And it was very, very intimidating. And so, you know, psychologically that affects children. And so I'm not putting all the onus on schools, but if you see a troubled child, putting them in Prus doesn't help. And I think this gentleman wanted to
Sis, you know what I want to say? You know what I want to say? I don't want to.
The reason why I raised that because there was a common consensus there that schools are the problem, schools are this, schools are that. When was the last time, with all due respect, that any one of you entered a school and said, you know what, why didn't I go into a school? Why didn't I volunteer? Why didn't I put my narrative?
That's what I do. So
let me finish. Why didn't I try and influence the next generation? Because I see here, we're all here for schools. We're all, you know, like lions.
But can I just ask,
Last time anyone volunteered?
are we allowed to do that? Because
Raise
of
your
child,
hand.
hold on, but child protection, are we allowed to? Are we allowed to?
Exactly, yeah.
As for child protection, are you allowed to just come and volunteer?
So you can
That's what I'm
speak
saying, you can't even
to
enter the
members
school.
of staff, you
You
can
can't even
speak
enter
to
the
head
school.
teachers.
You feel
Everyone
I
listen to
want
this
to do
because
mentoring in school.
for the
No,
public,
but he's making a
if they want to
point
go
to
in
that.
house,
Yeah,
sorry.
they will do a
CRB.
check. They will do a CRB check. But if you're saying I'm coming to volunteer, it's part of my, I really want to volunteer, I really want to put this narrative forth. Many schools will come in and accept you and you can mentor the kids and work with the kids.
But what about, we're talking about knife crime, yeah? So what about using people that understand it, that have criminal records? Are they allowed to go in a school and talk about knife crime? Because they're the most, they're the most influential people. Somebody that's actually been in it are the better ones to tell the kids.
It's to the discretion of like head teachers, members of staff, etc. But I have very much.
You know.
Go back. Go back, you won't be in it. You're not in it. Okay, sorry.
But yes,
You know-
it's to the
go on,
discretion of
I wanted to ask. You said that the situation with regards to schools has changed. Yeah. In what time frame are you talking about this change has come about? The last 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years?
So the last 10 years.
From when I was
Last
in
10 years.
secondary school,
I've
so
finished
let's say
10 years
I'm at
ago.
the front of the classroom now, about 10, 11, 12 years.
10, 11, 12 years. Yeah, all right. So you're obviously not that much younger than me. Yeah? if you was in secondary school, like 10, 20, 12 years ago.
23.
Say again?
She's 23.
23?
Yeah.
We said secondary
From when
school.
she was in school to now that she's a teacher.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Right. So you're saying the last 10, 12 years it's changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have.
Based on what I've
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
being
that's-
at school
yeah.
and what we now practice
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
teacher.
I'm not right now. The statistics off the top of my head I can't remember. Yeah, I'm not a qualified teacher. I do work with young people on a regular. I have worked in schools and them kind of things there. And I am not aware of the fact that school exclusions for especially African Caribbean children has appreciably changed. Yeah, my parents have worked in education and them kind of things. Yeah, I'm not aware of that fact. But what I do know is that. Well, as everybody knows, that school exclusion is a paved way is a roadway to imprisonment or criminal justice system, yeah? And so the reality, and as far as I am concerned, yeah?
No, don't forget about them.
Yeah, what's it called? So my point really is that we can't dismiss the school angle, even if the children are not being excluded, yeah, because the experiences there are children that are on road, not just school, that go to school, college and university, yeah. There are people that are on road. I know man that used to come college with their gun. Yeah, that's a reality. That is a reality.
Was he trying? But the thing is, was he trying to come out of it? Because this is where it stems from.
But what the brother said earlier is correct. A lot of people that are in it are trying to
come out of it.
That's the reality.
They're dying to come out of it.
Because the issue is that there is no one reason why this takes place, and there is no one solution. Yeah. At the same time,
we have to look at other nations, right? Because you look at Sweden, you look at like these kind of Nordic nations and whatever. They don't have the same issues as we have here.
They don't have cuts. Their economies are much more better.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying.
Like Sweden, for example, they pay high, and education is for free. Do you understand?
Upper education is free.
In Scotland, upper education is free. In Scotland, that's not an issue though, because in Scotland, upper education. Higher education in Scotland is free. You go to university for free in Scotland.
Why do you think
I'm saying we have to look at these different things. Now, I think 100% it comes down to what we teach the youth from earlies. And then you look at everyone else and they'll tell you. You ask people from gangs. No, listen. You ask people.
You could teach your kid to be the best kid. No. You could teach your kid to be the best kid. You can upbring them best. You can Islamically. How much of these brothers Islamically they know the Quran? They know a lot.
But they had the best upbringing. So why did they choose
they had the best upbringing.
Why they chose the life?
Because you can't control certain things. Some things are just truly out of control. You can put measures. But no matter how much measures you put, whatever. Like it's not as black and white. Do you understand?
You had a good upbringing. You went to school. You got your grades. You can now be a doctor. You've done university. You can now be a doctor. So why choose the road life?
The reason why
why? Just to understand,
say you're not smart enough. Say if you're around friends that don't support you. So what about if you've gone through family problems? What about there might be an instance when you're 17, just about to go into university, something could have happened at someone. You might have lost a friend. You might have been stabbed. You might have been abused by a family member. Your whole mindset's changed.
Always a choice. This is the thing, because there's plenty of parents that grew up in the care system. It's always a choice. This is the thing, because there's people that grew up in the care system, yeah? It is their choice to teach their children better than they would teach. Being beaten and whatever as a child is always your choice to then whether or not you're going to beat your child and whatnot. It's a choice.
Yeah, but sometimes in life, sometimes in life you be going one direction, one instant can happen, and then you turn.
Yeah,
but you choose to turn. This is the thing. You choose how to react to that thing. You choose how to react to that thing.
But when you're young and your mind's not fully developed and you've gone through a major life, like a life change, it's like anything. You can't scrutinize that person. Do you understand? You truly cannot scrutinize them. You can't because let's say you're 16 and I don't know, like a death of a parent. And then now you've got to look up. I know a girl. I'm not going to say her name. I know a girl. Both her parents died in a car crash in one day, and then now she has to look after 7 brothers and sisters. She had to drop out university, take up 3 different jobs, and it went hard. Now one of her brothers are doing whatever they're doing on the road. Do you understand? And that family didn't come from a bad background. They came from a privileged background. They came from a really good upbringing. Do you understand? It's how you react to the situation. But sometimes you might not have the mental capacity. Sometimes, furthermore, you've got to go through some things in life to improve. You've got to go through some negative to truly improve in life. Do you understand?
You know what? I get what everyone's saying about the interpersonal realities of this thing, yeah? And it's real, yeah? Personal circumstances do have an impact. But the reality is, the reason why there are drugs and guns in certain communities is because it is designed so to be there. That's the reality. And no youth never had no choice when they were born in Tottenham, about whether there was drugs and guns in his ends. That's a reality. There was no choice involved in that. And if we're talking about this problem, Carl, one of the things I always ask here, like how long has this problem been a reality for us in this country? How long has it been a reality? And I'm saying maybe the last generation. So let's say like since the 80s. Before that, black people been here, from what 1948, they say the Windrush, right? Between then and the 1980s, this issue didn't exist. The people that had gangs in England were white youths from the East End, and places like that. So how did that culture? Because our grandparents and everything, and my grandparents, they came here and saw gangs.
It's
so how did that?
Transferred from the States.
Exactly.
The gang culture in the States, and
it's deeper than that. It is a transfer.
Yeah.
We've had gangs.
What they're talking about though.
No, but I'm saying that when my grandparents came here, there were gangs. There were gangs. Yeah, there were gangs here.
The white gangs.
There were white gangs already here.
There was Yardie gangs.
No. Because the Yardies weren't here.
The British that were here.
The Yardies, them are my people. Them.
You had skinheads.
Me are Yardies. So I know the thing. Yeah. Right? And the skinheads were here, the teddy boys were here, the mods, the rockers were here, there were gangs here, already. Our people, them, didn't really come into this thing until the late 80s, early 90s, And I'm saying you can check it out, because the reality is, when you're looking at areas like Tottenham and Hackney, and Leighton where I'm from, and Brixton, these areas never had crack cocaine in the 80s. It weren't there, They never had guns in the 80s and the 90s, it weren't there. So somebody has orchestrated a thing whereby these things are now available in the ends. The reality is, and then you have social forces that are designed, to be able to, engineer certain things that depreciate the value of certain areas, make economics in certain areas difficult. You can't make a life for yourself and them kind of things there. And the social pressures are imposed so that what the brother is saying is that you can't even think straight. So when you're in that mentality and you have options, you mentioned choices. The reality is that your choices are often based upon your options. What options that you see are available to you. And when you're in an environment whereby this is an option, not only is it an option, but you can see examples of it around you whereby people have taken this option and have been able to make some sense of a life for themselves, you are going to do that. That is a reality. I'm not saying you are going to do that. Many people are going to get caught up in that. That's
and then
the reality.
It gets glamorized, obviously, like you
Exactly.
said, through social media.
Exactly.
Do you think though, can I just make a point? I didn't weigh in. Do you think though that some of it also has to do with the fact that society, I mean, I know this is a bit of a strange thing to say, but something which has always kind of bugged me is parents say, let your kids stay young for as long as they can. To me, I think that's wrong, because then you're letting the child not grow up. You're letting the child stay young for as long as they can. Then when they hit teenage years, they're becoming into an adult, but yet they've still got this young frame of mind. And the other thing is they don't have a sense of importance within the family, etc. Like, not importance in the sense of love, but importance as in sense of I'm a man. Treat me like a man. So when he goes out and he's with his mates, I'm a man. You understand? And there's not that in the house. It's more of an emasculating sense, I think, within, not on purpose. Like, we mums don't kind of on purpose, but we're not given enough responsibility, is not given enough to make the person feel that they've got that intelligence, they've got that they can do something on their own, they've got that I can't think of the word, but I think that's part of it.
I don't think parents are even allowed to proper parent, like they can't even parent their kids without being scrutinized. Like it's like the state owns your kids. You can't even discipline your kids. Now that doesn't necessarily mean you have to beat your kids.
No,
Do you understand? You know?
But it doesn't say it doesn't work. Sorry.
But it did to an extent. It did to an extent.
I got beat, and I'm a good girl. I own my own business. So
thing is, I feel the two most important parents to a kid's upbringing are the parents at home, their immediate parents, and their teachers. So what they learn at home and what they learn at school are very important things when they're in their upbringing.
This parent thing is concerning for me, and this is why, And to your point, I agree with you to a certain degree, to a certain degree. At the same time, I think that there are a lot of young people that are facing problems at too young an age that they're too young to really process. You see what I'm saying? Like I've worked with children, their mums are alcoholic. I don't know how you do. As a child, I don't know how you deal with that.
Exactly.
I don't know how you. Personally, I just don't know.
Carers for their parents.
Exactly. I don't know how you deal with it as a child.
It's a different situation.
You live no life and you're having to act as an adult in your own home. So there are a lot of children that are exposed to things very, very young, where they're having to act as adults, and they don't have the experience to process the responsibility.
Or the guidance.
Are these the same kids though that are going out and stabbing each other, stabbing
Possible.
other kids and
Sometimes,
stuff like that.
sometimes, but because
But not all.
every youth is not in a gang.
Yeah.
And
That's what I
I'm
said
gonna say that
earlier.
most young people in inner city areas are not in gangs, but all are affected by the culture of the area in which they live. And there's an old African saying, there's an old African saying that it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah, I believe
right?
that.
It
But that's
takes a
been
village
shut
to raise
down in this
a
country.
child. But this is the point.
That's been
A
shut
village
down.
to raise a child.
You
It takes
don't
a
do
village
that
to raise.
anymore.
So why I say that the parent thing is concerning for me is because it's impossible. And I'm saying it's impossible for a parent, for any individual to teach you everything that you need to know in life. Yeah, no one individual can be your everything.
No, not at all.
Could be your mama, your papa, your wife, your husband. No one individual can be your everything, and that's why community is important. The reality is
I
that
agree.
it's not. So when we talk about raising our children properly, this is a fact. We should, and I agree with what you're saying. But the reality is that these things should not exist in our communities in the first place. And if we were operating as a community, we would be asking that question. Where is this thing coming from,
just say-
and how do we get rid of it?
There's
Some people
oversaturation.
believe that the government encourage knife crime and gun crime because without it, and drugs crime, without it, the police won't have a job, the barristers won't have a job,
Definitely.
Yeah, they're not
solicitors,
making money.
hospitals.
Definitely.
So it makes money for the government for these things to continue. What do you guys think
Definitely.
about that?
Yeah, no, I agree.
So what about
And
kids?
it keeps-
What about the
it
kids
keeps
that?
the community
What about
down
the
as
kids?
well.
What about the kids that made a successful career?
So some people
What about the
say
kids
how
that made a
it
successful-
works in the best interest of the government, for gun crime, gang crime, and knife crime to continue. Because without that, the police won't really be able to police. Hospitals, doctors, solicitors, barristers, all of the crime generates money for the government. Yeah,
Crime pays.
how do we feel about that?
And this is the point. There's information.
costs,
So
yeah,
like,
it costs.
coming back to what you said before, I've done workshops with young people. Yeah, this is my brother Ras here. He knows I've done this. Yeah,
Sound like a
right.
video.
Whereby,
Just for confirmation, yeah?
say again.
Let's give you confirmation.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Support
I
your
am
argument,
because
support
we
your
are. You know,
argument,
my brother's back the thing. You know, that's how it goes. All right. But I'm saying that because I'm from East London. I live in Leighton, it's right next to Hackney. And when I had cousins that lived in Hackney. And we was growing up here, there was a beef between Hackney and Tottenham. And none of us here, we were young people in the thing here, right? And I've been had up by a man on the road because they think I'm from Hackney. Yeah, because I used to be seen in Hackney. None of us knew where the beef started. None of us knew. None of us knew why Hackney and Tottenham was beefing.
How old are you?
Come again?
How old are you?
33 years old. Yeah.
How do you not know?
How do you know
How
that?
do you not know? You're older than me.
I'm saying none of us knew until there was an older boy that told us where the thing was coming from. Yeah?
Yeah, I know this.
Right. We didn't know. What I'm saying is, a lot of us as children at the time, I'm talking like 9, 10, 11, 12, we never
What
knew
he's
why.
saying is most man don't really
We
care.
don't know.
It's just
Yeah,
that
man,
they're
yeah, that's what
angry.
We don't-
people dying.
There's
people
beef
dying.
going, fam.
Fam, like you know
In
how
Leighton-
you know how Brixton and Peckham beef
Yeah.
each other,
Yeah.
and they don't know the reason why they were beefing.
Fam, I'm from Leighton, fam. Beaumont and Boundary were beefing. Nobody knew why, fam.
Yeah, no one
That's
knew
just
that.
what it was.
Only
And
certain
if
man know.
and if you're a younger right now, you have no idea.
don't know why.
You don't know
Yeah.
why. But the point, even beyond that, yeah, I'm saying when you talk to young people and you teach them, like the political economic situations that brought this thing into their ends in the first place, it's a different thing. It's a different, and I'm saying that we don't solve the problem. To solve this problem, we're gonna have to confront government.
Yeah.
That is a reality.
what I said.
Yeah,
That's
we're
what
gonna
I
have to
said.
confront government. Yeah, we're gonna have to confront institutions of society.
I feel
How?
like everyone's
How?
woke. Can I just say one thing on that?
Why?
I
Because
feel
they
like
control it.
Everyone's so
They control
woke
it.
on what's
Comes to
going
the top
on,
What are
but
we doing in the meantime? Then? Because the
That's
Conservative
exactly it.
government And to change these policies.
only so much we
it
can
takes
do.
years.
But
And
it-
that is the reality. So what are we doing as individuals?
But
in the
that's what I said.
meantime to help change the public
Education,
sector?
that's the point I'm trying to make. Education is key. I mentioned community already, right? But I'm saying that part of it, yeah, is to be able to educate young people about the social economic realities of their areas. And I'm saying that part of it is the fact that we have to understand why and how these things come into our areas in the first place. Yeah, that's the reality. And I'm saying I know that works because I've done it. Yeah, and I've seen the impact that it has. Now, we don't have the facilities to be able to do it on the scale that it needs to be done on. But there are many people. I work with a brother called Twilight Bay, yeah? He's got a thing called the Social Solutions Institute. He has actively done, yeah, gang intervention on road. Yeah, gone onto estates, seen people warring and been able to form truces between these individuals. Yeah, he has experience in this thing. There are people in our communities that have that experience. But when they come to us with solutions, what do they say? Stop and search. We need more policing. We need policing more on the beat. But they know that there are people in communities that have tried and tested methods. Why are they not funding these things? Why? Because they don't want to. Because they want it to proliferate and continue. That is a reality.
Yes.
So unless we're dealing with that problem, we're not dealing with the problem.
It's like people on.
That's why I said there's no solutions.
Under drugs and alcohol.
And the solutions
I
at
know someone
grassroots
who's been
level.
detoxing
You know?
from heroin for like 20 years nearly.
The government
It
knows
takes forever.
that in order for this to change, young people have to have people that they look up to and respect. So that means the government has to fund youth workers and do outreach work. We know this. Everyone's been saying this for many, many years.
Put it this way.
Police need to help, yeah. But what it is needs the people to help the people, to help the kids to eradicate this, because kids are not going to listen to anyone but their peers.
Put it this way. I'm going to make one last point and I'm going to keep it moving. Yeah? Listen, yeah, you're upon the where it is, yeah? If people don't commit crime, there's no need for judges. If there's no need for judges, there's no need for police. If there's no need for police, there's no need for prisons. There's no need for prisons, there's no need for prosecutors, anything. It's a constant cycle. It's a cycle, this oppressive system that we live in. That's why I'm saying there are solutions that we can do at grassroots level, but from the right at the top, they don't care about it's a grassroots level thing. It's a grassroots level.
I propose that us as a community,
we do ourselves. This is what it is.
Us
ultimately,
as a community, the black community, the Muslim community, have to get together and put
to
money
take back
in our
control,
pockets until we can get the funding. Because if we're going to sit here and just wait for funding, it might never come. I think as a collective, we need to get together, put money in our pockets, and go out there and do outreach because our children are dying. Yeah,
absolutely.
The boys are dying, the girls are being used.
Because the reason why it don't affect them, it's not their kids. It's not their kids that are dying.
It doesn't. It's just exactly. It doesn't. It's not always money.
Say that again.
I'm talking about a little bit of your time every day. How many followers have you got on Instagram? And you.
Exactly. Use your platforms to make a change.
Yeah, but then also
how many people is that reaching? It's a little bit.
No, I agree with that, you know.
They need someone.
I agree.
I agree with that.
It takes time. It takes time. It takes money as well. But I do agree.
I agree. At the same time.
Time is money and money is time.
No, but at the same time, as a teacher, can I ask a question? As a teacher, yeah.
They need somewhere to go, like a youth club. That's what I'm saying, money.
But he's talking
Youth clubs are closing.
Yeah, but
We'll talk
to
about
get them
as
out
a-
of streets. We
as
can
a
talk
whole.
to them and say to them, don't stab, sorry, don't stab, don't. But if they're in the streets, they're going to continue to do it. That's why I said we need money so we can have places for them. Once we say to them, don't stop selling drugs, stop fighting, go to the youth club, go to the venture centre, go, John. We need money to do that.
It's not even just that, because I believe in going beyond the money, you know. At the same time, money is a resource. And so if I understand it like that, it sounds different to me. You're a teacher. Could you be a teacher and dedicate the time that you have to dedicate to your job without being paid for it?
No, I wouldn't.
You couldn't be it, right? And this is the point I'm trying to make. There are people that I know that have children.
I'm not saying to you, I think the brother was saying that, you know, it takes time and money. I'm not talking
But
about
because
these
it does.
big infrastructures, and I'm talking about the little things that you
No,
can
yeah.
do as individuals standing in this circle.
Yeah.
Because I'm all for these solutions. We can sit here and blame the government as ethnic minorities all day long, every day of the week.
Yeah.
But the reality is, what are you as individuals doing to change the
Make a
system?
change. Because everyone's sitting here, everyone's sitting all woke, knowing that the government are doing this, the government are doing that, but no one's doing anything about it. And then you go, oh, we can't do anything. But you know that thing, I don't know if you've seen it. It's like when the government is only one body, yeah? But there's loads of us.
Who's harsh?
Me, I'm harsh. Yeah, well, yeah, you know.
Ain't that wrong with a little bit of harshness, though? I'm good,
Spade's a spade, call a spade a spade.
I'm good.
So basically, when it comes to, when we look at the government anyway,
Yeah.
we can overthrow the government. I'm not, wait, hold a minute. Wait. No, this is the thing.
Yeah, you ain't got to hide your face for that. You can say that. Yeah,
the thing is, we
it's a
can
speaker's corner. You can say that, right?
We can overthrow them. Of course we can. But we don't, but the thing is, what we do... Sorry, the thing is, what we do is we complain about how they do this, and we're so woke about what they're doing to oppress us.
Yeah.
But we do nothing about it. We just sit and complain.
That's why we're here.
We work together. We work together. That's how we do. We work together.
I'll be honest with you. Everyone's fighting each other. How are you trying to bring people together to do things
But
like
you
that?
know what, yeah?
But we've got
I can't start it. They're going to start
You know
watching
what?
me.
You need to sort out before you do
It's
that.
about changing yourself before you're changing everyone
Okay.
else.
That's true.
You be active before you want to
Whilst
start
they die.
Have you seen
That's
the
true.
characteristics of most of these politicians? They all like each other. They don't understand this world that we live in. They only understand their world. Even if they're Muslim, they throw that away. They throw that out the window. They only say I'm Muslim by name. They don't do anything.
Can I touch on? Sorry, can I just quickly touch on the Grenfell Tower? Yeah, we touched on that a little bit. So when that happened, everyone come together and was like, "This is outrageous," blah blah. And they tried, and the government only started listening and doing some things based on the fact that people were outraged against it. So why not look at that?
But didn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
A lot of people can say, "Oh, I'm outraged," but didn't come out into the community and help the people.
But there were a lot of people that did. So let's look at the positive and look at the fact that. But look at exactly. No, we're not looking at it. But the thing is, politicians aren't going to help us. Yeah, but they're getting paid. They're getting paid just to go on holiday from us.
The same way as the people came. Sorry, when Grenfell happened, we came together as a community and we brought together millions of pounds worth of goods. Yeah, money was raised. The same way as a people, we need to come together and try our hardest to stop this knife crime and gun crime because it's killing our kids.
We go back to the government when we want them to house the people, but they're not doing it.
Yes, we were saying earlier that it's a social housing problem. It's not just why are the kids doing what they're doing? Because the kids are poor. There's social housing crisis. Do you understand me? Single parents. These are things that we need to, like I said, campaign against, but at the same time do the groundwork. Yeah, we've got to be young men need to go out there and speak to the young men and try and stop them and influence them with whatever they can. If it's social media, do that. If you can actually go out yourself, do that.
You know, most of these people that are having kids, like, say the people that grew up in the 80s and they were on that stuff when they were there, their kids are now starting to be those next kids. They're teaching their kids some badness, you know. They're telling them, bro, you got stabbed, what are you doing about it?
Yeah.
Someone will look at their children and say, what are you doing about it?
That's very unfortunate.
And that's most of the people that are living in areas like that.
I've never come across that, to be honest. What I've known is normally people that grew up in that lifestyle will tell their children not to.
In a hospital bed, tell him, you're not coming home until you do something about it.
That's the mentality that needs to change, though.
That's crazy.
That's what it literally just needs to change.
But it's good to an extent, though.
Defend yourself.
But not only defend yourself, retaliate.
You know what I think it is?
Very good. I came home once with a bruise and my dad made sure that I went and hit the kid again.
Yeah, but that's you know what, that's
defending yourself.
But then when does it stop?
Sorry?
When does it stop?
It's one for one, and it stops there.
Retaliation mindset. When does it stop? I punch you, you punch me, I punch your mum, you punch my mum. Fine, I'll go for your kid then. When does it stop? Does it not take a grown man or a grown woman to say, you know what, Khalas, it's done?
Yeah, but how do you teach
that's when we're first. So when you hit me, I hit you, and that's it.
But I'm going to be the bigger person. And
how do you teach your child?
Yeah, but hold on. But what? Yeah, but hold on.
How do you teach your child that? How? Because a child, he'll be like, it burns you inside. It burns you inside when you ain't done that.
It's like those exact pivotal moments.
But
those exact pivotal moments when a child is, you know, someone's come to your child and punch you. Do you know what?
There's a root of this.
It's kind of like he done you wrong. Yeah. But you know what, you're better than that.
Yeah, but then what if he becomes...
We're Muslims, so we have a basis for that.
Then what if he gets bullied? Because most of the time when a young boy gets punched in the face and does nothing, the next day he's going to come back to him, beat him up. So at what point do you teach your child to defend themselves, but not to then become a bully? Because defension, if you say punched you...
No, but some youths don't defend and then
you can
mash
defend.
up.
If you're in that moment in time, defend yourself. By all means.
But how are you going to teach that if he comes home the first time with a bruise?
I can get nicked for defending myself. I can get nicked for defending myself.
I'm articulating myself to you.
Nah, because if they don't find it reasonable
I don't know, I think it's a fine line. It's a fine line.
If he gets back up, I'm finished. So I've got
one conversation, please.
I can sit here and punch you in order to defend myself. If you punch me and I've allowed it, and
within
I've gone
reasonable
home,
force.
and I've gone
Yeah,
home
it's
to my
reasonable
dad,
force.
Within reasonable force, you're allowed to defend yourself.
Yeah. And now
kick you,
I've
just
gone
smoke
home
him.
and I've accepted it and I've gone home and I've said to my dad, oh, do you know what? And my dad's now saying to me, no, his dad punching me, that's retaliation. That's not decent, that's not defending yourself. I'm there to defend yourself. We're human, we have natural instinct. But not retaliation.
I'm trying to get at something. There's a foundation. As Muslims, our foundation is Islam. So Islam teaches us that. But what about people that are not Muslim? What's their foundation? Where's their morality?
Sorry?
How do they know to do that?
Where's the morality? The non-Muslims? Ooh.
I'm saying Islam has a morality. We have a basis in it. Yeah.
I don't know. I to be honest
to not
with you,
retaliate and
It
turn the
depends
other cheek and things like that.
if
Yeah,
my
I can
child got
teach my
hit,
child that.
I always
But
tell my child to defend themselves. And if someone,
about defense, I'm
yeah,
talking about
but
retaliation.
you know, isn't that the same thing? No,
not really.
So I'm gonna just do that.
Retaliation is like, I've had the thought.
Someone hits them, I'm gonna hit them back.
No, and what you're talking about.
It's kind of spontaneous. If you come to me and I've punched you back out of defense, that's spontaneity. That's me acting on natural instinct to protect myself, right?
Yeah.
Retaliation is you punched me. Now I'm being.
Probably leave that topic to another time.
That's very rare though, isn't it? Especially with boys. Yeah, with boys, it's very rare that someone's going to get punched and then go home and tell his dad, and then his dad's gone back. That was a knife.
This brother came
Yeah,
to me, he said,
the
oh, my
knife.
dad told me to go and do this and punch him back.
It's a key point. It's a key point.
Did you not punch him back? I did punch him. Oh, already?
It's a key point, yeah. It's a key point, yeah. It's a key point, yeah. And thankfully, I personally, well, no, I can't say that. I was about to say I personally have not been in a situation. I'm correcting myself, but there's a level to which I haven't been in a situation. But I know people have been in deep situations whereby they have to kind of draw peace between two sets of people, and there's casualties, deaths on both sides. Yeah, it is one of the most difficult things to do, to convince somebody who is suffering with the pain and the loss of somebody that they love, to say to them, listen, please, for the sake of everybody here and your community at large, let's stop. Let's end it right here. It's very difficult. It's not easy to do, because most of us, if somebody harms somebody that we love, yeah, to a certain degree, many of us are going to go outside of our head. So imagine if you're living in a context whereby that is the reality that you're living in constantly. It is very difficult to do. However, it is one of the things that has to be done, but it takes people that know the reality to be able to draw on the sensibilities of those that are within it, to be able to bring out that humanity within them. It can be done because it has been done. And you mentioned looking at the positive examples, and I'm saying that there's so much good work going on in our community that we don't know about. Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Where people are actually actively reaching out. Yeah, even here, because we're standing here and we're talking about solutions, and there's a formation that came out of this Hyde Park thing, directly designed, to try and tackle this problem. Whether you agree or disagree, or you got beef with gang or not, that's what they're doing. And when cameras ain't around, them man there are walking onto estates trying to talk to young people. That's a reality, fam. And wherever our critiques people got of gang, you have to respect that. Yeah. And my thing is, like, when we have these conversations, we sometimes can talk around what we know is actually happening. Because we will know people that are doing quote-unquote mentoring with young people, but we ain't mentioning them in a circle like this, or organisation that's doing it, them kind of things there. Yeah, there are people that are that in the African-centered community that run rites of passage programs, trying to bring young boys into manhood and give them the values and the principles that it would take to be able to see a situation and know to leave it alone, or when to defend themselves, or whatever. Just what I'm saying. And I'm saying that it's about us looking for those institutions and supporting them.
Instead of starting your own.
Or start your own.
I would say instead of starting your own, actually join and bring that one, because they've already started it. So what's the point of you trying to get people together if you really want to make a difference? Go and find these.
I'd agree. At the same time, I would also say that even with what we've got, there's still not enough. Yeah, but I get what you're saying in the sense of even what's there is not big enough.
So why are people not advertising it and speaking more and giving out details
there's advertising
for people to know?
Was it last year?
So you got this platform and you tell the followers,
the
viewers, if they've got young people that are worried or are in the streets, who can they go to? And who are these people that can help?
To be fair, some positive things have happened in the last few years. So I think last year or the year before that, the Manhood Academy for Boys, featured in newspapers, you know what I'm saying? Academy for Boys,
Are they online? Do they have a website?
Yeah, the website, all that. Manhood Academy for Boys. Google that. Manhood Academy for Boys. Okay. There's also East and North London, as far as I'm aware, East and North London. There's also the Womanhood Academy for Girls, which is the sister organisation to the Manhood Academy for Boys. There's the West Side Young Leaders Academy. There's the East Side Young Leaders Academy. There's the Origin Rites of Passage programme. And there's the ACUA Rites of Passage program. Yeah, there are many different. Then there's the Social Solutions Institute, yeah, which does gang intervention like literally on road. There's Amenwa Consultancy, yeah, who I've done work with. My brother runs that, and he does work with children that are in Peru's or have been excluded from school. You know what I'm saying? So there's many more that I'm not even aware of. I heard of one the other day called, is it ROPE? I think it's ROPE. ROPE is an acronym, but I can't remember what it stands for. Yeah, but they're based in Tottenham. You know what I'm saying?
There's gang.
And there's gang, which I've already mentioned. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that like the solution lies in us at the grassroots level solving the problem, because the reality is that we don't have a defense mechanism at the moment against drugs and guns coming into our community. They don't come from places, yeah, like especially in inner city areas. Most of us come from places in terms of our countries whereby these things they're not coming from our places, yeah? Just how I'm saying? That's a reality, yeah? So where they're coming from is controlled by somebody, yeah? No M16 and no AK ain't made in Jamaica or Ghana or Nigeria, yeah? Or Somalia. Say again? We're using them. That's the reality. So where do I come from? This is the point I'm trying to make. And you made a point earlier, which is the interesting one. Yeah, I'm gonna say this on a duck. Yeah, but what's it called? But in terms of the fact that when white youths are using drugs and them kind of things, they have what you call functional drug use.
Yeah,
but you got a
fun.
Job and whatever. And even if you go off the rails, yeah, for a bit. Like the system is set in such a way whereby you can afford to go off the rails, and there's going to be a community and a social order for you to come back to that's going to be able to fund you and direct you towards the right path.
Exactly.
That's a reality. So we live in a society.
And women, sorry, can I just say, and women as well.
To a degree.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
Well.
But we live in a society whereby there are certain young people that are allowed to make mistakes. They have the space and the room, yeah, to mess up big time and still be able to come back. Every you ain't got that option. When you mess up big time, that's you. Yeah, and so I'm saying that's why communities, there are no individual solutions to the problem, it's a community thing. So we need to be able to have a community whereby when them youths want to be on the right path, they have a community that is going to support them that way. The problem is that a lot of the youths that want to be on the right path, they don't have a community that is going to back them being on the right path. They have a community that's telling them, be on the right path, do the right thing, but we don't have the social order to be able to facilitate them being able to do that, to provide them jobs, to provide them counselling, because a lot of people need counselling. A lot of us here, none of us ain't on the road, but we need counselling. So imagine if, this is what I'm saying, that's the reality. All them things, all the skills that we need to be able to do these things. So that's
Can I just ask you one thing just before you go? We're hearing, like, obviously we're talking about mostly victims of knife crime.
Yeah.
Do you know of anybody or any organisations that can actually help young boys who have actually been the perpetrators of knife crime? Like if a young person, obviously 'cause he can't go to the police and get arrested, has actually stabbed somebody, is there a safe space for him to go and sort of get counselling or get help?
Not enough. But all of the institutions that I've mentioned work with such young people, yeah. I can tell you stories of like brethren of mine who have gone out on road, called out of their bed because a guy has just had his brethren stabbed. And he don't want to do nothing, but everything in him, and so sometimes he has to call the person. You understand what I'm saying? I was in a place, and one of my brethren, he was
like a counsellor, like a Samaritan type of counsellor.
All that kind of things there. Now, these things, generally speaking, don't exist in professional counselling institutions. It's only the grassroots, and people that are doing. So people like Twilight Bay, who I mentioned earlier, he's actually training others to be able to do what he does, And so one of the things that we need to do is get those kind of qualifications recognised. Whereby, and so there are people that are now, they're trying to get into the probation officers.
Which is really hard because now I was looking up to it. You have to have an actual youth work degree,
right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Or a criminology degree, just to be able to do
exactly.
youth work.
Exactly.
Whereas before,
exactly.
when I was growing up, the youth worker was just a youth worker.
Right.
Came in, done 6-week course,
right.
and they were a youth worker. Now to be a youth worker, you have to have a diploma.
Right.
So it's making it really, really hard for people that have experience with young people.
It's very difficult.
Like me or you, or whatever, they've had a lot of experience.
There's more work that needs to be done in it in terms of knocking down certain doors to make us effective in doing the work that we're trying to do in it. You see what I'm saying? But my point is really just the idea of being aware of those institutions, and those institutions have to do more to make people aware of them.
Yeah.
But I'm saying the more people that are aware of them, the more, like you said before, people can share.
Use your platform.
Right, just what I'm saying, and
for
share
positivity.
what
Like-
How can we get governments to actually recognise and allow people that have had certain backgrounds but don't have the necessary degrees? Because these are the people that people listen to.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily going to listen to somebody who's got a criminology degree who knows nothing about the reality.
I agree.
Not everybody can afford to go to university
agree.
or has the time, take 4 years out of their life
Yeah.
to get a criminology degree to then go out and help the youth. How can we
When it needs
pressure?
done right
yeah,
now,
how
exactly.
can we pressure the government?
I'd say
to-
it's organisation. If there's a level to which that it hasn't gone to yet. There are tried and tested methods. People can prove the value of their work. Yeah, but I'm saying that it takes for a community to organise to be able to put a pressure on the government.
Yeah.
There's no voting
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just I'm saying because it's not on the ballot.
Just overthrow
yeah?
them.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, there's no, you're not wrong.
I'm joking,
ultimately.
please, I'm joking.
No,
Oh my gosh, I'm joking.
It's no joke. It's not a joke. However, we're not there right now. What I'm saying is there's a certain level of organisation whereby we need to be able to organise enough to be able to put issues on the agenda. Yeah, in terms of to be able to say to a guy, unless you're supporting this thing, nobody ain't voting for your backside.
Yeah.
That's the reality. But at the moment, we're not there yet. We're not organising to put things on the agenda. So that no voting are going to be able to do this. It's going to
But
take.
when people
level.
do that, though, and when you look at the examples of that in other countries of people doing that, these people usually end up getting killed when they do those kind of things.
Charlie,
They're usually the ones
you're taking
that.
it somewhere else.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, no, but this is the-
you're right. You're
they
right. You're
do.
very right. You're
So
very
then,
right.
so then, a lot of people are kind of scared to even start doing those things because if you're going against the government publicly and going, guys, come join my movement, let's do this, blah 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 blah,
don't
you
really
make
think that
yourself a
happened here.
target, though.
Alright, so
But this is
you touched on the point.
not
yeah?
so much that you would get killed, like they're going to assassinate
probably
you, but
try
they'll
to
kill you in a
smear you,
different.
smear
Alright.
you. Do a
I'm
smear
gonna say
campaign.
this because you touched on because you just said what you just said. Yeah, the reality is that in inner city areas in this country, much of the guns and the drugs came in order to destroy certain movements that were being developed in this country. That's the reality. A guy earlier spoke about America, the example of America, yeah. And when he said, but he said that over here it's not the same, and I was saying that it's the same thing. But first of all, because you cannot separate the slavery of people in America from the enslavement of people from the Caribbean and Africa who are here in this country. You can't separate the two. Yeah, that's the first thing. The second thing is that when you look at how gangs, drugs, and guns developed in America, a lot of that was in response to the Black Power movement in America. Yeah, and I'm saying in the 1980s over here, there was a strong Pan-Africanist movement developing, as well as a strong movement of resistance to police brutality. Yeah, and so coming from, I mentioned Tottenham earlier. Yeah, and I know this because my parents were involved in this. When there was a so-called riot with regards to Broadwater Farm because Dre Gardner was killed, yeah, nobody on Broadwater Farm estate never knew nothing about heroin, crack or cocaine, right? The police had that estate locked down for 6 months after that uprising took place, yeah, and it was during that time that people on the estate and around Tottenham and around the community were saying, well, wagwan, because people smoke weed, but there was a weed drought. Suddenly, nobody couldn't get no ganja for smoke, yeah, but crack and cocaine was becoming readily available in Tottenham. Yeah, there's documented evidence of the fact that Scotland Yard had paid so-called informants on their payroll, yeah, in areas of London that they knew were committing crimes in inner city communities, that they were not arresting, that were being protected, yeah, by Scotland Yard, yeah, to do what they were doing on road, yeah, for years, yeah, in the 90s. Yeah, and it was during the 90s that the media started to put out the term yardie. Yeah, I'm from Jamaica, so I know. One time, yardie just meant you come from yard. Yeah, Jamaica. Suddenly, yardie meant criminal.
Criminal,
And they were using the phrase that yardie killing, like it's a special kind of killing.
When I grew up, I was told
Yeah.
that scared yardies.
Right, seriously, right? So this is my point is, so you can see how the media backs up the agenda of whatever is going
As
on.
Muslims, we know that. Like we know
Very well,
that exactly,
right? So,
very well.
So I used to say that because of what you just said in terms of, you know what I'm saying, the communities and them kind of things there, all right? Where people get killed and them kind of things there. The reality is that this is here so that we're too distracted to be able to look where the real thing is coming from. Yeah, that's the reality, right? That is a reality. And one of the best things that we can do is to give a people a sense of who the real enemy is. Yeah, so I'm saying because we're fighting each other.
But that's dangerous, though. This is the thing. It's
already dangerous. It can't. But it's already dangerous.
Letting everybody be woke, like for the kids, for instance.
It's not. You see, what you said is different to what I said. You know, I said.
Coming up with bare conspiracy theories.
But that's the thing. People think it's a conspiracy. Is it a conspiracy?
You're saying conspiracy theory. You know, I'm saying there's evidence for the thing. Once there's evidence.
Ask you a question. So once we all know who this enemy is now,
overthrow them.
Now become too focused on this enemy like we all are now, as opposed to providing a solution.
I've just mentioned.
Answer my question.
Yeah, you know,
Do we not become
no, I'm saying no.
fixated
No. I have just mentioned a number of different organisations who are doing work, right? But the point is that doing that work with those young people doesn't stop the fact.
Funding them projects, though, isn't it? That's funding them.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Don't say that. You can't 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 say that. There are some. That's the point I'm trying to make. There are some that are funded by different bodies, and there are others that don't. How do you trust who? How do you trust the PRU? How do you trust the school? How do you trust the police?
Because they tell you to trust them.
They tell you to trust them.
Because you're made to trust them.
What I'm saying is there are people in our communities that have tried it. They have track record. These are not people that came up 2 years ago. People have been on it for years. Yeah, since the 90s. Yeah. So if I can say that, like, you can see people have track record. They have credibility in their communities. Yeah. Why would we not trust them? And who else are we going to trust? Where is this trust coming from?
I think it's fair to say that the government, if they really wanted to clean up gun crime and knife crime, they could. Same way as when everyone knows on the corner of their road are drug dealers that are there every day. If I know that they're drug dealers and I know that they're shotters and I know what time they come, how can the police not know? They do. Do you know what I mean? So if they want to. Yeah.
They nab them.
What they do is every now and every 5 or 6 years they clean them up. Like Ladbroke Grove, where I grew up with, yeah. Outside my mum's house was the place where the shotters used to come and pick up. Right outside my mum's house, so we never got troubled, yeah.
We all know
all the drug dealers knew us, yeah. And so what happens was it got bigger and bigger, and it spilled out onto Goulburn Road. When it spilled out onto Goulburn, and everyone was complaining, they decided to do a sting, and they picked up in 6 months. They picked up every single drug dealer, but 6 months later, it started, So that proves to us they knew they were there all along. They were there studying drugs about 15 years.
If we know, they must know.
They know.
Exactly.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if the government really wanted to clean them up,
Who's we? I don't. Fam.
Yeah, there's a need for it.
I can't tell you.
There's a need for it.
No, but it's true though. Brothers are being on boats and everything.
Fam, so go into where?
How do we get coke in the country?
Go into where? Go into where? Holland. How did it get to Holland?
Why do you got ink crows?
How did it get to Holland?
AGPs, bro. Why do you got all these things, bro?
Why is everything?
So Malaga.
There's a reason why, because they got relaxed drug laws. They have relaxed drug laws. That's why drugs are allowed to come over.
Let me show you the absurdity of what you lot are saying, yeah? Right? Malaga to Holland to get drugs, yeah, and come in the country. Now, if you're traveling to get drugs to come in the country, yeah, what's the quantity of that we're talking about? Right, we're talking about large quantities, yeah. So who's going, fam? My point is that who's going and who's controlling the trade?
Anyone.
Who's controlling? Of course, I'm saying that. I'm saying that categorically. You lot. Hold on. Listen. Let me show you something. Yeah, I'm from Jamaica. Yeah. Right. Listen.
Where are you from? Y'all add that one to the list as well.
No, but where's the heroin coming from?
Listen, what I'm trying to say. Man, I'm talking, fam. I'm from Jamaica, yeah.
Huh? What?
Yeah, Morocco's the number one.
Morocco. Afghanistan's the poppies. Yeah.
Just who's bringing that? Charities. My friend, his dad was in jail.
What did you say? Charities that are regulated by what?
Charities that
are
there.
Yes,
they're not coming back
but charities are regulated institutions by what?
I don't know.
The government regulates charities.
Scotland Yard.
Yeah, but they can't regulate everything. Customs got to do
My
with their own
G,
stuff.
I don't understand.
You take
Fam,
from customs.
do you know how hard? Wait, hold on. Do you know how hard it is to get? Wait, hold on.
Talking about America, that's a whole different
I don't understand. What's the problem?
CIA, sometimes they fund drug organizations.
It's not sometimes. They control it all the time. Yeah, the CIA controls drugs. That's a reality. Yeah.
In
So
South
when
America,
I-
they do.
Bro, you said something about conspiracy theory earlier. Yeah, let me show you something. Yeah, you see in the 90s, yeah, Tony Blair took over. Bro, hold on.
Hold on, but
Who's we?
crime
Who's we?
stem from gang crime.
All right, the people are talking. All right, let me show you something. In the 90s, yeah, the 1997 was when Tony Blair took over, yeah. All right, now man was like 11 years old at this time, innit? Yeah, man's young.
96.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I'm correct, but I'll go with let's say. Well, I said 97. I said 97. Right.
It was
Right.
97.
I'm pretty sure, right?
Because I used to like John Major.
All right, cool.
John Major, I did like John Major. It was his glasses.
You're showing your age now, you know. Yeah, sure.
You liked him as
All right.
looks.
No,
Right.
I just like, I was,
But
like,
follow
no,
what
I
I'm
was
saying,
like, oh, I
innit?
like this guy.
Right? This is 97, yeah?
Sorry.
Man's like, what? Like 11 years old at this time, innit? All right? Tony Blair takes over, yeah? At this time, yeah, there was a debate around private prisons in the parliament, innit? Right? And how it went is that the Conservatives were for the privatisation of prisons, yeah? Labour was supposed to be against the privatisation of prisons, yeah? Right, but
Tony Blair was
I think this is a good
conservative in the
fam, the point. What's your point? No, I'm asking, what's your point? Conservatives were for the privatisation of prisons, yeah, and Labour was supposed to be against it, yeah. So what point are you making about Tony Blair?
Tony Blair was a conservative.
Okay.
Even though he stood for Labour.
Yeah, that's my point.
No, yeah, I'm not, but I'm saying that in the debate, the Conservatives were supposed to be against. The Conservatives were supposed to be against. Labour was supposed to be for. The Conservatives were supposed to be for privatisation of prisons. Labour was supposed to be against it. Yeah. Labour coming to power. Jack Straw is Secretary of State. Announces that from henceforth all new prisons in London and the UK are going to be built privately owned. Yeah, in this country. One thing we know about private prisons is that privatisation of prisons always increases incarceration rates because it's prison for profit. Yeah, and a lot of the prisons that were built were prisons like Feltham. Yeah, why I said I was 11, 12 years old is because when I left school in the year 2000, 2001, it was a lot of my brethren that I went to school with. Yeah, that were now in young offenders institutions and prisons meant for young people like Feltham and them kind of things there. Yeah, so when we talk about there's no conspiracy theories, fam. It's a reality what's going on around here. Yeah, because the fact is that unless you're gonna tell me that black youth are so many times more likely to commit crime, then how is it that we are overrepresented in prisons and all facets of the criminal justice system? There's no conspiracy theory. It's a reality.
But when you talk against what
private prisons are good still.
But Sadiq Khan says it's going to take 10 years before we see a change in knife crime. What do you lot think about that?
Not a year goes by that the next will be worse than the last.
But do you agree
do you
agree that 10 years?
I got a youth at home.
The world is just going.
I'm gonna be a daddy.
It's been thing is they're putting it on the media now.
Yeah. I didn't used to know what happened in South London.
Shootings a week like in Wembley and whatnot. But they didn't put it on the news because they want everyone to get scared of it.
That's true. Like back in the day, I didn't know what was going on in
There
South.
is a 37% increase in
But blessing, thanks for the conversation.
20% increase in gun crime.
we're talking about we were talking about knife
20%.
crime.
I was looking at statistics yesterday.
We were talking about knife crime, right? And the whole conversation started. But one thing that we're talking about, we'll come on to, is obviously the government. We're talking about why it is up from like the top. But we're not actually discussing the fact that there's these youths that are going out and buying these zombie swords and that mentality.
There is that mentality to tackle.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the we're all put in poverty and we're in not all, but I'm saying that's there. We know that.
Yeah.
Not a lot of us know it in depth.
Yep.
But we're woke on that stage.
Yeah.
what about the people that have that mentality to go out and hurt
No,
others?
I agree.
It's all preempted.
But this is the point I'm trying to make.
To buy a zombie sword means that I'm going out to
But I'm
not
saying
protecting myself, because protecting myself would be getting my kitchen knife.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
But I'm agreeing with you that there's a mentality that is developed in us. Yeah. These as children, when we didn't think them ways there. There are things that happen in our environments that train our mind a certain way. And I agree, that has to be addressed. And all the institutions that I mentioned earlier are targeted at addressing that issue, our mentality. And I know, because one of the reasons why I didn't go down that road is because of certain influences that I had in my life that trained me a certain way. But it wasn't just my dad. I had a dad, but it wasn't just my dad. There were people, like I coming from like quote unquote African Caribbean parents, yeah. Your grandparents will tell you stories about how when you was growing up, anybody could beat you, yeah. And you go down the road and you do something, and before you get home, your parents already knew what you did because Miss So and So said, right. That's what I'm saying. These are stories that we heard, but I'm saying we don't live in those situations at the moment. And the reality, there has been systematic destruction, breakdown in our families and our communities. Yeah,
but would you
but
not
I'm
agree
saying
that the young people have? When I say mental health, I don't mean that they're crazy, but they've got
yes, definitely.
A lot of mental health for you to be able to go in and buy a Rambo sword or knife and stab somebody,
definitely,
and then go home, go to chicken shop, buy chicken and chips, and laugh about it.
Definitely,
yes,
there is something,
or even video it while it's happening.
Definitely.
I've seen videos where they have.
Definitely.
Obviously in their bed.
Definitely.
So in their bed, they're going to be crying.
Definitely.
But the bravado is they'll say, "This is how I do it."
There must be something. There must be something.
Something's happening
going on in your psychology that will make you. You know what I'm saying? Do that, yeah, definitely. No, Charlie, don't let. No.
Because people have been smoking weed for generations and generations.
Yeah, generations.
And they're not
generations. Listen,
social media.
Rastafari have been smoking weed since the 1930s. And what's happening, people?
Different places.
Native Americans been smoking since time immemorial.
Could you not?
When they put chemicals
brother.
Oh yeah,
let's not use words like savage and barbaric.
Can we not?
Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's not. No.
Could we not?
Let's not, bro. I'm not gonna have that. Not having it. I am not gonna have people calling Native Americans savage and barbaric. I'm not having it.
Oh, whoa, no. That's ancestry. That's ancestry.
Where do you come from? No, where do you come from? Where do you come from?
Beliefs.
Where do you come from? Where do you come from?
I'm from Lebanon.
You come from Lebanon.
These bold statements like that.
Yeah, I don't think. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, because where a man comes from, no, it's cool. Because there's nothing man can talk about in terms of being barbaric and them things there, bro.
Everyone was barbaric back in the day, though.
No, let's not do that, bro. Let's not do that. Let's not do that.
That cannabis. Today's cannabis has been mixed up and changed with a lot of different chemicals.
There, in this country, it was a skunk. Yeah, it was a skunk. Yeah, in this country, the skunk was a trap. Yeah, it was. Yeah, no, yeah, definitely.
That drugs can make some people decentralized.
Definitely.
Or even act erratic.
Definitely. All what's going on in California right now is joke business. Yeah, and I don't smoke. So I'm not advocating that. All I'm saying is let's not put it on the weed, innit? Right? Weed is a herb, right? What's it called?
Drugs.
All right.
We just say drugs.
All right. The point I'm making is that weed is not the reason behind what going on the road, fam.
It's not.
Fam, I'm from Jamaica, my G. Yeah, we are the capital. Yeah, of St. Emilia. All right. So man knows I'm very acquainted with ganja.
But you also know that the stuff that
I'm not saying. Yeah.
So the pure herb
we address that.
Yeah,
we address
exactly.
that.
It's different.
We know that it's been tampered with.
Yeah,
we can move on.
Drugs in general can affect young people in what they do.
Bro, the conversation is not about Jamaica. And man's trying to go home.
We're sidetracking a lot. We're talking about knife.
Yeah, there is violence in Jamaica.
Yeah, but that's no. You can't talk about what's happening in Jamaica. No, it's not.
Hold on, but there's. You see what I'm saying? Hold on. All right, let's. All right, hold on. Case in point. Hold on. Case in point. No, hold on. What you said? What you did was kind of slick, yeah. What you did was kind of slick. It was slick. Man said, yeah, is there violence in Jamaica? Yeah, because man said that Jamaica Island is the capital of the St. Emilia. Yeah. When did the violence start in Jamaica?
I don't know.
Exactly. You don't know, right? You don't know.
But what I'm trying to say, has it been there for
wait,
years?
hold on.
Right, wait.
I can tell you.
How long
I can tell you when the violence started. Rastafari been smoking herb at least since the 1930s.
Okay, yeah.
The violence started in Jamaica in the 1970s.
All right.
There is
What happened in the 70s?
real poverty.
Exactly.
What happened in the 70s
Exactly.
in
What
the whole
happened?
world?
That is the question. That's the question you want to ask. That's the question you want to ask. What happened in the 70s? That's the question you want to ask. What happened in the 70s?
We double the dosage.
That was I find that insulting.
It's
I
wrong.
actually found that
It
insulting.
was wrong.
Because it was.
You find smoking weed like that?
No. What? Listen to what I'm
No,
saying.
it was
I find
slick.
what
It was
you
slick.
said insulting.
I don't find it
Because you
insulting. I find it
don't
slick.
know- The thing is, you don't know the history of the country that you're trying to talk about. You're just saying.
No, but his barber's Jamaican, you know, so he's the expert in the thing.
Yeah.
His barber's Jamaican, you know, so he's a general. He's a guru in the thing.
No, I'm not saying
You get
in general,
me?
but he tells me about certain things. He can't go to certain places because man will chop you up. Simple.
In Jamaica?
It's not about the drugs.
Yeah, and
I'm
you're
not
from
getting
Lebanon.
annoyed about the drugs.
Okay.
Fine, whatever drugs. Boom, boom,
Is
boom.
there
But he's
violence in
trying to say
Lebanon?
The violence and whatever.
Is it
happens
because they're
in
smoking
Jamaica
weed?
is based on smoking weed. It's,
I didn't say it's not weed, you know. Is it because they're smoking weed though?
They made it legal.
Tell
So
it. But is it because they're smoking weed?
most of the violence that happens is because of the weed trade.
it's real.
It's
In
'cause of the hash
Lebanon?
trade. Yeah, it's because of the hash
In
trade.
Lebanon?
You got farmers with big
Hold on,
guns.
You're
shooting
you're
up
telling me
army.
that most of the violence in Lebanon is because of ganja?
Yeah.
That's what you're telling me?
Yeah.
All right.
No, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, actually is still.
All right, cool. That's what you
mad.
say. That's what you say. That's what you say.
Solutions.
The question that you asked though, right? Going back to conspiracy theories,
No, but I do
it's
think
actually
drugs
it's
are
actually
big.
very relevant because one of the things that did happen in the 1970s in Jamaica, yeah, is
Yeah, no, wait.
it's related
Yeah.
because a lot of the reason why it's over here right now is because they were able to literally import what they had already done in Jamaica. That's a reality. Crack and cocaine, yeah, wasn't really in Jamaica before the 1970s.
Also, no one want to talk about Jamaica, but you want
Now,
to steal our pop culture.
it wasn't really there before
Sorry,
the 1970s.
you want to talk about Jamaica, but you don't want to talk about Jamaica.
Right?
Sorry.
It don't make no sense, fam. Yeah?
No, but that's
No,
but isn't the
but
he
man's
was
bringing
making
it back.
relation
What I'm
to
trying
it.
to say is
you
that
want to talk
crack
like a
and
Jamaican, but you
cocaine,
don't want to talk about
crack
Jamaica.
and cocaine, yeah? Another thing that happened. Another thing that happened in the 1970s was Richard Nixon, yeah, and the Watergate scandal and the Iran Contra, and what was all that about?
So
Yeah, so
Jamaican
know the thing,
blood.
fam. Right.
Can I just say? Hold on. Listen. So we can all agree that drugs plays a role in what's happening to you.
The crime.
Yeah, okay, خلاص.
In Jamaica
خلاص,
is
let's leave
based
it
on
like
the
that.
fact that they smoke weed. That's what you said. That's what I found offensive.
I agree with it. Rastaman been smoking weed from Rastaman been smoking weed from 1930s and chatting peace and love.
We look at the stereotype.
Yeah?
Exactly. Look at the stereotype of a Rasta man. Why is he so chilled out? Because he's smoking drugs. So if he's somebody that's so chilled out, how is he out here doing mad
Bro,
crime and that?
You need to mind how you're talking, you know. You need to mind how you're talking, my G. Real talk. You need to mind how you're talking.
So you think
Yeah.
the whole nation?
Yeah. You need to mind how you're talking, fam.
Jamaicans.
You need to mind how you're talking, fam.
They're
No, he needs to mind how you're talking, fam. He can say his opinion though. I'm just saying mine because a man will get shown up on camera differently.
Listen.
Who said it? I didn't say anything violent.
No, you should have said
I
that.
said a man will get shown up on camera. That's what I said. Shown up is not a violent statement. Yeah? Shown up is not right. Okay. You get
Yeah,
me?
but that's not violence to say someone's going to get shown up on
That's
camera. I'm going to embarrass you on
Yeah,
camera.
like, it's not that. I never said anything violent,
He said
fam.
shown up. He's saying I'm going to embarrass you on camera.
No, because if a man wants to get hype about Rastafari and ganja, it's a different conversation, bro.
I don't know. You could talk about somebody else's country, but why would you talk about it if you don't know
See
anything
what I'm trying
about
to say,
it? That's
like?
it. Don't talk on it. You don't know anything
Don't
about
talk
it.
on it, fam.
You can't just make a stereotype and then say that that's it verbatim. Like,
Fam,
you don't
can't-
know, so don't talk about
Even if
people's
people
culture.
think, yeah, that ganja is messing up people's heads, yeah, you can't say it's the reason why people are acting violent on the road. It don't make no sense, yeah, because everybody knows that people that tend to smoke, yeah, tend to be relaxed, very
Exactly,
relaxed.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you get me?
So then what are you talking about?
Oh my G, fam, I'm not.
And then that's what caused you to go out, take a knife,
It
stab
don't make
somebody
no
because you feel a
sense,
bit
fam.
cranky because you ain't got a fix.
You cannot compare. You cannot compare. You cannot. But what are they smoking? But what are they smoking?
And then when they're not smoking.
This is where I'll agree. This is where I'll agree. This is where I'll agree.
It's a different
This is where I'll
conversation
agree.
now, but-
Skunk here, when skunk, and if you know anything about skunk is not weed. Skunk is not marijuana, fam. Yeah? Skunk has got all kind of, people don't even know what they're smoking.
Yeah, but I think it's
No, it's related in the sense of the fact that
It is related.
what people, because in the 90s, a lot of people that smoke skunk, they had no idea what they were smoking. That's a reality. And so a lot of people that were smoking skunk got sent to mental health institutions, and it was a different thing. Yeah, it was a different thing. So let's not do that.
You know what? With this conversation is around circles. As Muslims, we don't, as you know, participate in any drugs. So this is why we.
Oh, no, I know Muslims that smoke.
But they do. Oh my God! Of course they smoke, they drink, they fornicate, they do everything. Yeah.
I just want to.
And I'm not even talking about weed. I'm talking about smoking in general.
Drugs and whatever. Yeah. But as that Jamaican versus. That's wrong. You shouldn't have said
that's
that.
exactly it. I just want to make that point in saying that I don't advocate smoking, right? As a Muslim, obviously, I don't advocate smoking. But I'm just saying, like, if you're going to be this is the thing. I'm only got a bit aggravated because you spoke about my people. So I got annoyed by that because you're talking from ignorance, like pure ignorance. The fact that come on.
No, but what did I say that was ignorant?
What was ignorant is the fact that the crime happened to Jamaica based on the fact that they're smoking weed.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that was the reason.
The guy's slick. I
left it out.
Ratings for slickness still.
Anyway, that's
ratings for slickness.
But it's not about the fact that I don't advocate smoking or taking
ratings
drugs.
for slickness.
I'm strongly.
I've never smoked in my life.
In any nation, if you smoke it,
I've never smoked in my life. I'm being very serious.
I've seen it. I don't know what it does to people. They'll be smoking.
I've never smoked tobacco. I've never smoked ganja.
When they don't have that zoot during the day, when they're not high, they're aggy. But when they stop smoking, they're not like that.
Aggie doesn't. This is the thing.
No, but aggie can turn certain people. If you're quite a violent person. No, but
you got to be a violent
no one's ever starts off being violent. No one starts off being violent. Your environment.
Whatever you're gonna say to me,
and I'm
whatever you're gonna say to me, whatever you're gonna say to me,
combinations.
Whatever you're gonna say to me. My grandparents came here in the 50s.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been smoking ganja over here from the 50s. Up until now, we never had we never had a drug and gun problem. It's like a gang violence problem until the 90s.
We look at alcohol.
That's the reality. That's the reality. 80s at the most, and late 80s at that. Late 80s at that. Yeah, we never had a gang violence problem in the African Caribbean community up until the late 80s, early 90s.
So when did 28s come about then?
Say again?
28s. When was their golden years?
When who?
28s.
They're from Brixton.
When it comes to knife crime, isn't it?
What are you saying to me?
I'm asking you, innit? It's a known gang. PDC came out of there.
Came from there.
They're kind of known in South London.
PDC? When is PDC?
Where is it?
When is PDC?
90s. They started out in the 90s.
I'm saying PDC are the youngsters. Obviously, they preceded them, innit?
Yeah. So I've already said, even if I'm not denying that, you know. What I said was we never had a gang violence problem in our community up until the 90s, the late 80s, early 90s.
I'm saying 70s.
Nah, right?
Because
no,
the 28s,
it's not the case. It's not the case. No, I'm not saying that we never had groups of young people and whatever. But that's a different thing. Because before you came, no, we're not.
Bro, if I call myself,
I'm saying, before you came, we already addressed the fact that when my grandparents came here, there were gangs already here. They weren't black gangs, right? So the first gang that we set up over here was to protect our community from them.
Okay.
That's the reality. What I said was we never had a gang violence problem in our community until the late 80s, early 90s. That's what I said. Hear what I said properly. This we never had gangs. Right? No, it's fine. It's not a problem, right? It's not a problem. I'm saying check the clarity. I was very specific in what I said. So I'm saying the first groups that we had were defending our community from teddy boys and skinheads and mods and rockers and them kind of things there. That's the reality.
No, it is.
Get me? Hey, man's got to go.
I'm saying there's many solutions to this.
Wife and Pitney yard. Get me? So bless.
So you want to derail the conversation?
He didn't derail it. He did not derail it.
That's not fair.
I think.
No, but this is there's many
things.
Causes.
Many things.
You have to address everything.
Everyone in Shaw today, go home, do something productive for the community.
We give thanks.
Spread the love, spread the knowledge.
Be grateful for what you have. Yeah, exactly.
Tell them worry.
Thank you for
kids and some youth.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Spread the message.
Give thanks.
And I hope we haven't offended you as Muslims.
No.
That's not.
I don't take offence. Yeah, and I'm saying it's a respect.
You know, I apologise for my young brother here, Sean. I don't think he meant to offend you. So you know what's all peace and all love.
He offended me. I think I was more offended than he was. I was like, excuse me, what?
I expect that. That's the thing. So,
Blame his barber, bro.
I expect
that's his barber. Blame him for a few things as well.
Man.
There's a few other things.
I know Jamaicans to be very conservative because most of my friends, their parents were quite Christian, conservative, but the youth didn't turn out like that. It was different.
I know both sides. I know like it's not just they're on one thing. I've met Rasta. I've met all different types.
Peace and blessings, yeah?
Stand back, pedal. That's what that is.
Take care.
You just want to act like weird as fuck.
Content over everything. Content over everything. From your melody.
Man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV. Listen.
So basically, we just want to clear up the misconception about the misunderstanding in terms of how we started this thing, Sister Circle. Originally, how it happened, we were having lots of different conversations with each other in terms of how women are not having a fair go in having conversations and being able to take part in conversations.